Hello and welcome to Jadwiga's Fairy Tale channel. Jack and the Beanstalk is a fairy tale from England by Joseph Jacob. There are some variations of this fairy tale and I choose the one I like most. Jack and his mother, a widow, lived together in a little house and they were very, very poor. Even though the two of them were working very hard, there was never enough to make a good living. And one morning, Jack's mother was so desperate because she said, "We have no money to buy any seeds, and we cannot harvest with no seeds, and we cannot eat with no harvest. So what shall we do? We have no money." And after a while she sighed and said, "I think we have to sell Old Bess." Old Bess was their cow. And Jack said, "Well, Mother, it's market day today, so I'll take Bess to the market." So he did. But he hadn't gone far when a tiny man came to his side and said, "Good morning, Jack." Jack didn't know this little man, and he was surprised that he knew his name. But he was a polite young boy, so he said, "Good morning to you, too." "Where are you going with your cow?" asked the man. "To the market to sell it," answered Jack. "Well, what do you think you get for your cow?" "Well, maybe 12 or 15 tailors. I don't know. I hope the best." "Well, what about this?" And the man showed him his hand where there were a couple of beans. "What? What about this?" "Well, I give you these beans for your cow." "Are you kidding?" said Jack. "I wouldn't give my cow away for a couple of beans." "Well, you don't know what miraculous beans these are. You plant them in tonight and tomorrow they will be grown up to the sky. And I promise you will be a lucky boy." Jack still hesitated, so the man said, "Well, if it doesn't work for you, you get your cow back." "That's a fair deal," thought Jack, and he swapped the cow with the beans and ran back home. "Oh," said his mother, "you have sold Old Bess," because she wasn't there anymore. "And how much did you get for her? Tell me." "Mother, you will never guess what I got for Old Bess." "Really? Did you get 12 tailors?" "You won't guess. 15? Maybe 20? Oh, Jack." "No, no, Mother, no money, no tailors. This, look." And he showed his mother the beans. "What? Are you crazy? What did you do?" "Jack, how could you do that? You gave away Old Bess just for a handful of beans? Oh, you nasty, stupid boy." And she started weeping and crying and sent Jack up into his room and said, "No dinner tonight. You go asleep right now. I don't want to see you any longer." And she was weeping bitterly. Jack wasn't happy either because he had disappointed his mother. He had made her weeping, and he wasn't so sure anymore that these are miraculous beans. His mother was so angry she threw the beans out of the window. Yeah, and there they were. The next morning, when Jack woke up, there was something strange because the sun was shining, but it would not shine fully into his window. something was there that made a shade. And when he jumped out of his bed, he saw the bean. The bean had grown high above into the sky overnight. He opened his window and caught the beanstalk and climbed up. He climbed and climbed and climbed higher and higher and higher until he eventually reached the sky, heaven. There he saw a huge house, and he went straight away towards it, knocked on the door, and a huge, tall, big woman opened and said, "What do you want here?" "Oh," said Jack, "please, can I have a breakfast? I'm so hungry. I haven't eaten since last morning. I only had breakfast yesterday and nothing more. Please, give me something to eat." "I cannot," said this woman, "because my husband will have you for breakfast if you stay here, because he is a giant and he loves young boys. He loves them grind and roasted on his bread. So you better go off." "No, no, please, I'm so hungry. I can't go any further." So the woman let him in. He sat down at the table, and the woman made him a bread with a thick leaf of cheese and a cup of milk. But just as Jack had started to eat, you could hear a tap, 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 tap. And the giant approached. What can we do?" said the woman. "Oh, quickly, go into the stove. And just as she shut the door of the stove, the giant came in, and I smell, fee, fo, fum, there is a human man, and I want to eat him." "You stupid man," said his wife, "what you are smelling? Well, you have 3 calves hanging at your belt, so give me them. I will prepare them for breakfast for you. And you go out and wash your hands." And the giant took the 3 calves, threw them upon the table, and left the kitchen to wash his hands. Now Jack wanted to crawl out of the stove, but the woman said, No, stay there. After breakfast, my husband takes a nap, and then you might run." Now the giant came, had his breakfast, 3 calves, and I don't know what else. And after this, he said, "Oh, wife, hand me over these sacks with gold coins." And the woman brought all of the sacks with the gold coins, and the giant started counting the golden tailors of the first sack, of the second, and his eyes became heavy, and he fell asleep and snored that the walls of the house tumbled. Now Jack came out of the stove, and before he left, he grabbed one of the sacks with the gold and ran right away to his beanstalk, threw the sack with the gold down, and it fell right into their garden, and then he climbed down as fast as he could. Now, Mother, did I promise wrong? Isn't this a miraculous beanstalk? Well, now they were wealthy. They did not have to be concerned about not having enough money. They lived happily, and they could afford whatever they wanted until all of the money was spent. So Jack decided to climb up another one. Very early in the morning he got up and he climbed up into heaven. and went straight away to the door of the house and knocked. And when the woman opened, he said, "Oh, I need a breakfast, please. Could you give me a breakfast?" "Ah," said the giant woman. You know, last time you have been here, one of the sacks with the gold was missing. Do you know what happened to them?" "I could tell you," said Jack, "but only after I had breakfast." So the woman was curious, and she asked him in. And just as she had put a breakfast on the table, again, "It's my husband. Oh, quickly, go into the stove, quick." And just as she shut the door behind him, the giant came in. "Wow, fee, fo, fam, there is an Englishman, and I want to have him for breakfast. Quickly, where is he?" "Oh, you stupid man," said his wife. "I will go and prepare breakfast for you, and you wash your hands." And again, Jack had to stay in the stove until the giant has had his breakfast. And after that, he said to his wife, "Bring me the hen that lays golden eggs." And the wife put this hen on the table, and the giant said, "Lay." And immediately a golden egg came out of the hen. And now the giant was so tired that he fell asleep and snored that the walls were tumbling. Jack, creeping out of the stove, caught the hen and ran away. But the hen cried, "Eh." No, that's a donkey. I don't know. Whatever a hen does. And the giant woke up and saw Jake leaving, and he ran behind him, but Jack was faster. He had already reached his beanstalk and quickly climbed down. And now they had a hen that whenever they said lay, it laid a golden egg, and they were rich forever. But Jack thought that there must be more up there in heaven. And one more time he climbed up a very early morning, and this time he did not knock on the door. This time he was hiding behind a bush. And when he saw the giant entering the house, he slipped into the kitchen and hid himself, not in the stove, but in a huge copper pot with a cover. Now the giant came in and said to his wife, "I smell a young boy. Where is he?" "Oh," said his wife, "this must be this nasty boy who has stolen the sack with the gold and the hen that lays golden eggs." And the two of them started looking for him. Of course, the first thing they opened was the stove, but there was no Jack. And they were looking around everywhere, the two of them. But fortunately, they looked wherever they could and everywhere, but not into the big, huge copper pot. So eventually, the giant had his breakfast, and as we know, he has a wish after breakfast and said to his wife, "Bring me that harp." And his wife brought the golden harp. And the giant said, "Sing." And the harp started singing a beautiful, beautiful song, which made the giant sound asleep. Now, when Jack heard the snoring, he carefully lifted the cover of the pot, seeing the giant sound asleep, and his wife wasn't there, so he carefully jumped out of the pot took the harp and ran out of the kitchen. But the harp cried, "Master, master!" And the giant woke up and he saw Jack disappearing with the harp and run behind him. Now you could have seen Jack run as fast as he could. The giant has long legs and he was very fast, so in the very last moment Jack reached the beanstalk and climbed down as fast as quick as he could. And the giant, watching him, was so angry that despite he was afraid the beanstalk would not be strong enough to keep him, started following Jack. And when Jack came closer to the ground, he cried out, "Mother, mother, get my axe!" And his mother brought the axe, and Jack jumped down on the ground and immediately started cutting the beanstalk. And the giant, seeing what Jack was doing there, was afraid. He did not want to fall down on earth. He climbed up as quick as he could back into heaven, just as Jack had cut off the beanstalk, and it tumbled down. Whew. Now, the harp was singing for them whenever they wished to hear it, and it was such a nice and lovely and beautiful voice. They really enjoyed it. And they were rich. And believe it or not, Jack got married to a beautiful princess. And they became very, very happy forever after.